what you want, oh my dear Lord. Let me love what you love, oh dear Lord. That is how you design life to be, Lord. Help me, Lord, to live how I ought to live. Oh Lord, take me to the place where I have no will, that is separate from your will. Oh Lord, take me to the place where I have no choice, that is separate from your choice. To be lost in you is my desire. To be all for you is all I want. Set me free from myself, oh my dear Lord. From the ways of the flesh, set me free, so I can avoid the ways of regret, so my life can bring pleasure to you, Lord. Oh Lord, take me to the place where I have no will, that is separate from your will. Oh Lord, take me to the place where I have no choice, that is separate from your choice. To be lost in you is my desire. To be all for you is all I want. To be lost in you, to be lost in you is my desire. To be all for you is all I want.
Adam and Eve disobeyed God, and because of this, sin entered their hearts, and the world became a broken place. Ever since that time, people have tried to lead without God's help, and it is impossible to lead well without God's help. If you want to be good leaders, we need to recognize that we are sinners and need God's forgiveness and grace. Once we welcome God's help and seek to please Him with our lives, we can learn to lead by serving other people, encouraging people to work together, and even making the world a better place. So we hope you enjoyed last week's discussions on influence as we continue to go deeper into the issues of leadership. And welcome to this part 2, where we'll be looking at more discussions around influence and things that are going around leadership capacities of different people. So karibuni sana, and continue to participate and to fill in your book. If you haven't gotten your copy, please make sure you get one from the ushers when you come to church, or get one priest, Reverend Mary Pande, and so that you can be able to follow up. So karibuni sana, and God bless you.
Okay, when someone is chosen to become a leader, they aspire to be a leader who will be an example to others, but then when they get there, maybe some of them, they don't have that strong character, or they just get tempted because of what the benefits that are in that seat as a leader, and they start taking advantage of the things that they have as a leader, and that is where they go astray and they stop becoming the leader that they would have wanted to become, turning out to be the bad leaders that are there, that only think about themselves. They don't put others first. They don't put the people that they are leading before the decisions that they make. They only do it to benefit themselves.
Leadership is to influence, nothing more, nothing less. So when there's something else that comes in, that forms a bad leader. When the bad leader wants to be recognized more than the others, that one leads to him or her being a bad leader. And I always see leadership or a leader as a position to worship. Because actually when we are called to leadership position, there are many tassels that we find that comes with the position. Be it a leader in the perspective that you are a parent in a house, you are a leader in your workplace, or in whichever cycle of life, you must worship. It must be the center of you for you to stand firm, because you are dealing with the different characters of people. So it's actually a position of worship, so that when we don't put God first, therefore it forms a bad leader. Yeah.
Not putting God
God first gives out a bad leader.
Very interesting. So there is a quote: there are very many bad leaders in the world because of sin. People try to lead without submitting to God and acknowledging their need for His help. Therefore, any leader who does not submit to God or acknowledge the need for God, then definitely that's a bad leader. So that brings us to the next question. Who is one bad leader that you know? And maybe what did they do for them to qualify being bad to you?
Idi Amin was a dictator, wanted everything of his own, wanted to acquire everything. And he was so materialistic. Yeah.
Recently, I saw, we said a leader is about serving others so that for people to follow you. But for her, what I saw is like she's using the government to gain herself. Like I was telling Mose that he bought her son a car worth 40 million, a Ferrari. There are those people who are outside there. There are those in this situation of corona. There are those people who don't have food. There are those people who lost their jobs. There are those people who they don't even have anything. But this lady, this time, 40 million buying a car, as in importing a car, just that doesn't make sense. Hata kama ni yake chebe. In fact, sio yake, hiyo ni ya government. It's being paid by the government. So instead of serving others, he's serving herself and her family, not thinking about others. So to me, that was it was not good.
That one was not good. One bad leader that I've heard of, I know of a leader of Italy during the 20th century, known as Benito Mussolini. He was a dictator in Italy, and he was a really bad leader, because I read that he used to take little children from the age of 10 years and above, whether you're a boy or a girl, you have to go to the army, you have to fight. I want you to remember that during the 20th century, this was a time where there was the Great World War. And if you are young, even if you are young, you have to go to war. And I think that was one of the really bad leaders that I've ever known.
One of the bad leaders that I know of, he was a German who was a dictator, who also was a sadist. He killed many children, even adults, during his time of reign, and is renowned all over the world because of what he did.
Saul from the Bible. He was a bad leader because he let his jealousy take the better part of him, and it led him to wanting to kill David, which is already a sin, and he ended up straying from the ways of God.
We've said leadership is when you're in the position of influencing others. So I guess I've been a bad leader myself one time. I was in a position of leadership and I was part of the team. So I would make decisions that will favor myself. not looking at the perspective of others and anything. That is being a dictator and like making choices and then telling people, unachocha watu, unawambia, itawafeva hata nyinyi, itawasaidia. Because you know, at the better part of it, you are the one to stand out in everything.
Know of Empire Nero in the medieval times, that is around 65 AD. He persecuted Christians so much. He was a cruel tyrant who was so full of himself, and this even led him to seeing himself as a god. And he even killed 2 of his wives and committed suicide. At that point, there are times that he could take Christians and they could go around in a circus and he could burn them to stake. So Christians face a lot of persecution because of Empire Nero. He really wanted everything, entirely everything for himself. So to me as a Christian, he was a bad leader.
An Al-Shabaab leader who was killed in 2014. His name was Gadani, and he was a very bad guy because he was going to bomb people who are maybe like a congregation. He will bomb maybe even a political rally or something. He also killed many innocent Christians, and for me he was a very bad person, and taking lives, innocent lives from people, for me it's a very bad thing.
Going to history, I know of one guy in Rwanda called Felicien Kabuga. Felicien Kabuga is a man who caused the genocide in Rwanda in 1991. This guy, because of his influence, he had a lot of money. He imported a lot of weapons from outside the country, outside Rwanda, that were used during the uprising in Rwanda. And so many people lost their lives, more than 1 million plus lost their lives. I also know of other leaders in Kenya who really have made this country goes to the drain. It is yesterday when I was watching news, I heard that donors from outside the country have withdrawn their donation, more so to support those people who are sick, simply because some people somewhere stole billions of money that cannot be accounted for the donors to give us the funds to continue supporting the population. I think that is bad, and it has also made me to understand that corruption, or rather bad influence, you can equate it to death or to killing. Because, for example, now you are in a position of influence. Maybe I'm a treasurer somewhere, or I'm a custodian of money somewhere. I steal the money, and then because of stealing that money, I'm not killing directly, but the people who contribute to that kitty, they're not going to fund that kitty, and people who are benefiting from this kitty are not also going to benefit. So you've created an opportunity for them not to get the medicine. Are you not a killer also?
Yeah.
You are definitely a killer. So influence, when we are given the position of influence, we need to take it with a lot of caution.
Exactly. In our circles as young people, have you met a bad leader, and what did they do to you? As a young person, maybe you are in school or kona job fulani unafanya. Have you met a bad leader, and what bad did they do to you? Or if you have not met a bad one, have you met a good one, and what good did they do to you?
I was in high school. There's this prefects. I remember we had joined Form 1. We were very fresh in school, and they came to our class and they told us that we are having some swimming lessons or something. They were having uniforms and ties, you could tell they are prefects. So they told us a lot of imaginations of their own. There was no swimming in our school, so we were told they were swimming. So when they told us that you register with only 200 so that you can be a member in that in that swimming class. So we got into the trap and we got all the money that we had and we gave it to them. The next day when we wanted to go now for swimming, they were nowhere to be seen. We could not tell. Even if you could recall the face, wangeruka tu na hakuna kitu ungefanya. Yeah, those were the days of bad leaders.
My experience with the bad leadership has been in my field of work. Yeah, I remember the person whom I used to deputize. I think he used to be kind of jealous of my competency, and that brought me a lot of problems because I remember I got to a leadership position when I was young from college. Yeah, and I could have a lot of influence on the people, and I was very efficient in my work. So kind of he used to sabotage me with the others, and up to a point that when I was now to take up his position as he was transferring to another place, the person that I worked with, who was now deputizing me as I was leading the institution where I used to work, gave me a lot of headache. Actually, he also took, it's like a baton that was handed over to him. He used to sabotage me as well with the others. I think it's out of you're young, you're competent, you are so much young than most of the staff you're working with. So I think it gave me a lot of trouble. I went into depression, and yes, it was very bad. Yeah.
Whoa.
My experience on good leadership was in the year 2018 after our school council elections. The leader who was chosen was called Sarah Kwoni, a very outstanding girl, a girl who was a fighter, a girl who will just do everything right, and when it's wrong, she will tell you it's wrong and everything. So when she stepped in as the president of the school, a lot of things changed. The way the prefects would relate to us, the way they would ask for suggestions, in the way that we want them to lead, the way she would solve things. She really did make a change and be a great influence in the whole school.
I'll talk about a good leader, a girl who was my schoolmate. She was in Form 4 and I was in Form 1. Her name was Domitila. And she was the YCS chair lady, and she was not afraid of telling people when they go wrong, even if it's not something that she's involved with. But when she finds you doing something wrong, she'll tell you. And even if she got herself in a mistake, she used to take responsibility of what she did. She didn't take advantage of her position as the leader. Yes.
I'll talk about a good leader too. It was back in class 8, our class prefect. He was responsible. Many of the times that the other classes, the prefects of the other classes will have some favoritism of some people of some class. But him, he was fair. It was very rare for us to have general punishment because he kept record of those who are doing right and wrong. So it was rare for you to get punished for something you did not do.
One example of a good leader that I have encountered in my life is my big brother. He's the firstborn in our family. And he has shown leadership in our family in a way that, the way that he guides us, since most of times we are not that social son with our father. So most of times he's the one who takes up that position, because every single now and then he always teach me about teach me about life, what I should expect in life, either good things or bad things. Even the way that I talk. If I talk badly, he tells me. If I talk in a good way, he encourages me. And also my other siblings. The way that he teaches me is the way that I'm teaching my other siblings who are lower than me. So I think that that's a very type of a good leadership.
When I was in Form 3, our head boy, he was our chairman. I think I loved his leadership because the self-confidence that he had and the intelligence that he had, because it's so very, very important to be intelligent while working with an organization, because the people you serve, you being as a leader, those people, they expect you to know more than them. So for this guy, at least the intelligence that he had and the way he was running the school council, it was very good and very nice. I just admired his self-confidence and the way Vinetuni Mesema, intelligence is more important when working with an organization. Exactly, because those people, like for example me and you, I expect you to know more, so that nikiuliza tutajose, I'm coming to ask for an advice. I'm expecting you to know more than me. You understand? You get it? Yes, exactly.
I've encountered with a good leader who was the DCI of Rift Valley, who was still a neighbor. So she could take his time and talk to me and encourage me on how to face life in different perspective. Plus, she always say that you might encounter various cases like theft, maybe killing, of which how to handle it may take time, but she always takes his time to encourage me more and tell me that everything in life has its own chances to face it.
Regardless of who you are, you can influence others and grow in your leadership skills. You can lead people below you, you can lead people beside you, and even people above you. And that is called being a 360-degree leader. For more content on leadership, there is this booklet that we have continued to give you in the church. Make sure you get your copy. Every one of us needs to have this so that you can be able to follow up on these discussions that we are doing. We'll be doing this for the next, as our chair said, about 15 weeks, yes? So after this, you'll be able to get your certificate of participation. And one way you can participate is by talking to our chairperson so that you can be able to participate in these panels. And also another way is by following up from home, but also make comments and participate in the WhatsApp group that for the youth. There's another one for the teens. So keep communicating and getting in touch so that you're able, to participate even much more deeply. So there are more assignments there that have been given for us. There are reflection questions in page 4 that you are supposed to complete, and let our discussions come from there.
Even as we wrap up this session, just a reminder that we are created in the image of God, regardless of our age, our position, race, our income, gender, or anything, because we all of us have potential to lead. So commit to practicing your leadership as an image bearer of God. Every day you have a purpose. You are to influence those who are around you and to do good for God, because we are the light of the world. So it is easy to be tempted by influencers. So just surround yourself with good influencers and good company. And even the memory verse, we'll have a memory verse for the day, which is from Proverbs 14:22. If you plan to do evil, you will be lost. If you plan to do good, you will receive unfailing love and faithfulness. That is Proverbs 14:22. So have a nice time, and remember to shine your light out there. Thank you. Maureen.
Thank you so much. Let's pray. Our kind and loving Father above, we want to salute you, Your Majesty, for having entrusted us with the position of leadership out of the fact that you've made us in your own image and likeness. We want to thank you so much, Jehovah Father, that you believe in us, Jehovah Father, and that the mission is yours. So when we go outside there to lead in whatever positions, Lord, how I pray that we'll be strengthened to go about your duty of wooing people into your kingdom, Father. Jehovah Father, I want to thank you, Jehovah Lord, that even during this time of the pandemic, you're still able to make the youths and the teens alive and vibrant and zealous just to spread your word and to participate in your services, Almighty Father. How I pray that even in this time, your mission will continue in all forms and nature through us who are the human beings. Enable us to continue being influencers in this world today, Jehovah Father, when people believe that science has taken over your word, Almighty Father. Help us to continue growing your kingdom by and by. In Jesus' name I do pray and believe. Amen.